Do ghosts exist? Yes. Yes, they do. Stay tuned to find out how I know. Hello, my name is Jynx, and welcome to Mercilessly Yours, where I promise to be yours without mercy, even into death. Just kidding. Or am I? To be completely honest, I've always been something of a sensitive my entire life, so to really pose the question, do ghosts exist or not, has never been something that has ever crossed my mind. It's always just been a fact of life.
Ghosts exist. We breathe air. We need food to survive.
It's just always been there, and it's never been a question to me whether or not they exist. Regardless, though, of whether or not I've believed in them my entire life, it doesn't really change the fact that I still thought I was crazy. And I think that you'll find anyone who has a natural sensitivity to ghosts will often tell you the same thing, that they did question their sanity or are still questioning their sanity. I questioned my sanity for a very long time. Well, I did up until... Allow me to set the scene for you. The year was 2014. I was approximately 18 years old. The trip was supposed to be for seniors, but we like to include everyone, so most of the theater class had actually joined us on this trip. However, the actual venue we were staying, best way to describe it, it was a hippie retreat. Not that I'm complaining. I am full hippie. I loved it. I had a blast. But it did make me a little bit uneasy. I actually wasn't the only one who was made uneasy by the retreat house. My boyfriend at the time actually also was not a large fan. So the way that this house worked out was, it was a large room surrounded by mirrors and windows. So I believe it kind of would... big window, a bunch of mirrors, big window, a bunch of mirrors, and then there was like... yeah, I think it just kind of kept going like that. So, and then there was this huge area. Keep in mind, this is a hippie retreat, so people would come here to work on their dance form or, to work on their painting. It's just basically a place for artists and stuff to get away and really connect with nature. Or ghosts. Oh my god, it's literally a haunting in Connecticut. At this place, a notable story, we're looking at some of the masks that were made at this retreat. The theater teacher decided it would be a fun time to share a little anecdote with us. I'm peeling off the stuff on this. She had told us that there was a man who had died at the retreat house. He was creating a mask for his face, and the holes for the nose had not been working properly, and he suffocated and died. Fast forward a couple nights, everything goes fine. I mean, other than the fact that a lot of people are still uneasy about the house, it was very hard for me to sleep there, especially considering the fact that we were often doing laborious activities every day, and I still couldn't really sleep there. But nothing really out of the normal had happened except for some creepy late night sounds and the fact that I could just feel things happening around me. So I believe one of the last 3 nights we were staying there, I think we only stayed there for about a week, but one of the last couple nights we were there, we had this yoga time thing with this dream psychic type woman. I can't completely place all the details at this time and place. She is a very esteemed psychic, and she had come in and she was doing work with a lot of the, particularly the moms, the chaperones. And during these readings, something caught my eye. Here I am, sat on the floor on this yoga mat, just kind of, relaxing, staring, looking around. Out of the corner of my eye, I see something move. So I look over. It's this really, really tall, shadowy figure. It is definitely male. I could just tell by the posture and the way that it walked. I was so freaked out at seeing this so clearly. I spun my head around, trying to see as though it would make sense if it were, but trying to see if it were maybe a reflection in the mirror. It was, but it was a reflection of the window. So I was looking at the mirror, and behind me was the windows. He passed by those windows and didn't go out the other side. When we were sat in this circle, when I was spinning my head around, kind of confused and baffled about what I just saw, keep in mind at this point in my life, I'd never seen anything quite so physically manifested, literally there in front of me with my own eyes. So I'm kind of confused and baffled and a little bit alarmed. And my friend next to me, let's call her Sarah, she puts her hand on my hand. She looks at me and she says,
Did you see that too?
and I was like,
The guy that...
and she's like, and I was like, yeah. So I wasn't the only one who saw it. Other than my friend Sarah, nobody else saw it. Everybody else was pretty much paying attention to the psychic, so I'm not surprised. And it doesn't stop there. Later at that night, as I lay in bed, reading a book to help me sleep, the exhaustion finally takes over and I'm able to turn in before 2 a.m. that night, getting sleep. Didn't seem that was what was supposed to be on my agenda. Fast forward, a good 3 hours worth of actual sleep. I wake up out of nowhere. I'm looking around, I'm like,
Why am I awake right now?
I was so exhausted. I should be dead asleep. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I'ma just go back to sleep then. I roll over to try to go to sleep. Now the way that the beds were laid out, there was no actual bedding area. There was a loft where people would sleep. Girls slept on cots on the loft, and then because it was high school, the fellas had to sleep on the floor, not on the floor, on the bottom floor, on air mattresses. Here I am on this cot on the floor, very itchy, not comfortable, but I deal with it because I probably could sleep anywhere if I had to. When all of a sudden, I start hearing boot steps. Now this is weird because the floor had carpeting on it, and the only areas where the floorboards did not have carpeting were in between the beds. This wasn't coming from in between the beds. Oh, and another thing, nobody was awake. I hear distinctive footsteps. Boom, boom, boom. I'm looking wildly into the darkness, mind you. I don't see anybody. There's nobody walking towards me, but these were footsteps that specifically walked to the end of my cot and stopped. So I waited, and then I started to hear him retreat. Boom, boom, boom. This time, my senses kind of came back. I had grabbed my dinky little flip phone and turned on the little dim screen, spun it around on the third footstep. Footsteps stopped and nobody was there. It begs the question, who was making these footsteps and how? Because they were floorboards underneath those little rug carpet runner things. From that point forward, I no longer think I'm crazy when it comes to ghosts. Other things, yeah, it's still up in arms. Oh, and I also thought it would be worth mentioning that when I confronted my teacher about this and, asked her because of the things that were going on, she stated that there was no guy who died from a mask. So who was phone? I'm sure everyone has a moment in their life where they're watching a scary movie or a show about a haunted house and they're wondering,
What would I do in this scenario?
what would be my reaction? Would I be scared? Would I run away? Would I cry? Would I not care? In my case, turns out I have a delayed reaction. I get really irritated that they woke me up from a good night's sleep, and I demand they leave me alone for the rest of the trip, and I never hear from them again. I handled it better than I thought I would, basically, is the moral of that story. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for me. I gotta go and, I don't know, look at some more shadow people. I was thinking in the future I was gonna do some more fun spiritual stuff like this. If you can't tell, I live for it. So let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in seeing. Probably I'm gonna post it anyways, but I'll post more of it if you tell me you like it. Otherwise, you can also tell me you like my things by liking this video or commenting that you liked my things. Or tell me what you think of the story. What do you think it was? Ugh. If you want to see me drinking more, stay tuned for Beer Mistresses this Friday, or just subscribe, because hey, I love it when you subscribe, and you'll know when I post these videos. Another way to know if I post these videos would be to go and follow me on Twitter. It is mercilessly yours. URS rather than YOURS. Dash is sleeping, so, oh, no he's not. Bye!